streaming this game was quite fun.
I thought it was really fun. Did you have how did you feel actually streaming?
I liked it. I liked it because I wasn't showing my face.
We have to get you interacting with the chat more. And I don't just mean me. I mean, when other people join, you need to be like, hi, hello, welcome. Thank you for coming.
Oh,
and
really?
Then,
That's the
talk
thing?
to them. Yes. But it was fun watching you. And like I said, I really like watching people play Life is Strange because I get to see the choices they make. Only you don't ruminate over your choices, Maddie. You just pick them and fucking fly.
There was one over time, some of them. I ruminated over some of them.
There were a couple where you literally just this one, and then you just press the button. And I was like, what'd she even pick?
This one.
Then I had to read context clues on the screen and be like, oh, okay, she picked that one. And yeah, it's way easier when you don't have your face on it. Although I think that the VTuber is a nice
I like the PNG tuber. I feel like that's what we should figure out because that's the simple version of VTuber that I think I had started to talk to you about, but I found this whole article about how to do it with Streamlabs, but essentially you have your little cartoon and then it's 2 PNGs, one with a mouth open and one with a mouth closed.
Yeah,
and then it
audio.
just and then this little code snippet that you can put in will choose the right one depending on if it detects audio from you, which I think is pretty cool. So I feel like we could do that. And you've already done cartoons of us, so we could just reuse those cartoons.
I actually have ones with our mouths open and stuff,
because you had animated it.
Yeah. So technically, I probably have everything.
Yeah.
It's just that you look like a podcaster and not a player. But I mean, I can cut off the microphone.
Yeah. Or
you've been
we
wearing
could just
little
be
headphones,
little podcasters. Maybe that's a cute thing.
Yeah, that's pretty cute. Well, we can do that off air, I guess.
Obviously, I feel one of the draws of VTubers is it's big titty anime girls. So we won't have that going for us, but that's okay.
I could draw them on there.
I would love to see a version of our cartoons with really stupidly giant boobs. And then with the mouth animating, they can go up a little, so then they just bounce around. That'd be so funny.
So stupid.
Oh my gosh. The privileges of being a woman, am I right?
That's right. Hi, I'm Bridget.
And I'm Maddie. Welcome to Baddy Breakdowns, where we hang out, have fun, and play games all the way to the end. Today, we're going to talk about Life is Strange, the very first one. We'll give you the breakdown from its creation to its critical reception, and then we'll take you on a deep dive into the game as we share our own experiences and opinions while playing it. We'll close with if we recommend it, who we'd recommend it to, and last but not least, our personal rating. With that, let's make some choices.
I like that. Not make some choices, shaka bra.
Shaka, the hella. Let's make some choices.
Some hella choices, yeah.
Dialogue is so cringe sometimes in this game.
As we get into this podcast, I'm going to need, if we have any listeners in California, I'm going to need you guys to tell me if people talk like this, I know hella is California, right? Do people in California still even use that term? I don't know. I guess it's from 2015, but still, I just need somebody to tell me if some of these things are normal slang that they've heard around, because even up in Pacific Northwest, Seattle, all of it was so bad.
So bad. Game description, Bridget.
Me. So, the actual blurb that's on Steam is not very, I mean, it's okay. It's fine. So I grabbed the more full description underneath it, you know, when you scroll down the page a little bit, because I think that did a little bit better. So it is a little bit longer, but I didn't do the full thing. Here we go. Life is Strange is an award-winning and critically acclaimed episodic adventure game that allows the player to rewind time and affect the past, present, and future. Follow the story of Max Caulfield, a photography senior who discovers she can rewind time while saving her best friend Chloe Price. The pair soon find themselves investigating the mysterious disappearance of fellow student Rachel Amber, uncovering a dark side to life in Arcadia Bay. Meanwhile, Max must quickly learn that changing the past can sometimes lead to a devastating future. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. Yeah.
But yes, so I feel like that covers it. Yeah, it's a pretty high level of the story. It's very much so a... Would you consider this a walking sim, kind of? It's a little walking sim. Yeah. It's got, like, light mechanics.
Definitely, like, visual novel-y.
Yeah. Where choices matter, obviously, as we'll get into.
But, like, really choices matter. Yeah.
Yeah, like, it's the emphasis.
It's probably one of the most choices matter games I've played.
I'd agree with that. And that will be interesting when we get to critical reception. In our discussion, but
yeah, I mean, I guess based on the ending, I'm curious. Yeah,
I know.
Is that what it's gonna get into? Yeah.
Okay, Maddie.
Okay,
how
it's made. So this game was made by the French studio Don't Nod, and published by Square Enix. The game was co-directed by two of the studio heads, Raoul Barrett and Michael Koch. The first game that this studio made was called Remember Me, and the game was really primarily centered around like experiencing memories, and so that was kind of a catalyst for making this game where they really wanted to dig into that mechanic of like memories but altering them and changing them and really like have these branching dialogues and choices that impacted the story. So that's kind of the background behind the game itself. And then the other thing that was interesting about choosing Square Enix as their publisher is when they were originally kind of shopping it around, a bunch of the publishers were saying, sure, we'll take this game if you make the two main protagonists men instead. Like literally, like, and then they were like almost quit shopping it around and were going to self-publish it. And then Square was like the last one that they met with, and they didn't even question the choice. Like they didn't even bring it up. So that's why they went with Square Enix as a publisher.
Mad. I'm like so mad. I'm sorry. You can continue.
Well, think about this game was made in 2015.
I know, but even in 2015, like, I know that 2015 was a long time ago. I get that, what is that, 9 years? I get it. But it still feels really recent to me because that's when I started kind of being an adult. You know, that's the end of my college years, like somewhere in that time frame. So it doesn't feel like a totally different world to me. And to know that even in 2015, as I was like getting ready for my senior year of college, people were still like, we don't want girls in video games. Like, I don't know. It makes my blood boil.
I feel like in the video game world, it's really interesting. I kind of reflected on this when I was meeting with some coworkers on Friday, where I was like, the amount of things that have changed even in the last 5 years, I feel like is like insane. Like in a good way,
sure.
Like for the better. The things that have changed for the better in the past 5 years, but it's felt like video games were so late to starting that. And then I will say that it's accelerating more and more, especially as barrier to developing a game keeps going down, right?
Yeah. Then we have different creators that have different backgrounds. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I thought that was really interesting and like good for Square Enix. And that's why they picked Square Enix as the publisher, because it was the only one that didn't question their choice of protagonists.
Well, good for Square Enix. That makes me like them more.
Yeah. I mean, they're still probably... Anyways, I don't like to give too many flowers to companies when I don't actually know them, but At least in this case, they deserve some flowers. So kind of going back into the development of the game itself, when they were picking the setting, they picked the Pacific Northwest because they were fans of X-Files and Twin Peaks, even though they are a French Paris-based studio. And so they also had a lot of fun. They visited the Pacific Northwest and did the whole game developer thing where you like go take notes and take a lot of photos and do a lot of reference shots. The next thing that was really important to them is they really wanted to make sure the game felt like you could take your time. And so one of the big things is they actually spent a lot of time on the menu and how that looks, because they wanted to set the stage for, we want this to not be stressful. They don't want it to be a stressful experience because you're running out of time. It's like a different kind of stressful experience.
Yeah.
And they really wanted to make sure it felt super accessible. And so they kind of developed the menu to be this really relaxing, like waves crashing, music, etc., which I thought was kind of interesting. And then they also specifically designed it to be episodic because they were working on it episode by episode. And as they released the first episode, they were still working on subsequent episodes.
I remember that. Yeah.
So there's actually some like small continuity errors throughout because they would like change something. So actually like the photography award thing, like where you get to go to San Francisco and be in this gallery, originally it says you'd be in a museum, but then they changed it to a gallery later to make it smaller because they didn't want to design like a whole ass museum. Yeah. Which makes a ton of sense. And then the other thing that was interesting is they also, it didn't change like a ton, but when they released the first episode, they looked at all of the choices that players were making and like also kind of had that inform some. Well, it helped inform some of the like details of the dialogue and stuff like that later down the line of like seeing what are players choosing more of, like maybe we should flesh this out more or flesh this out less or whatever, right?
That's so interesting.
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting as well. Another thing that they were talking about, I found this director's commentary series, and that's kind of where I got the bulk of my information. Music in the game was super critical. So usually music is like one of the last things and you pair the music with what's happening in the show. But for this, some of the scenes are actually designed the other way around, where they picked the music and then had the scenes and the writing be based off the music instead.
Oh,
so that's
were there specific ones they called out?
So I think like that waterfall song. Yeah. And waterfalls.
Oh.
Yeah. And then also the beginning song when Max puts her headphones in and she's walking around the school.
Oh, I loved that intro sequence. To be fair, I loved that one.
Yeah. So if you actually notice, some of the things that happen in the scene pair up with the words, like the lyrics.
As it should. That's always how they should do it. I stand by this.
Yeah. So it's really interesting. It's really cool. I thought, and then it confirmed, like, as I was playing it, I was like, wow, the music is so good in this.
You did,
like, it's so good.
Since I watched you play it, you did do that.
Yeah. Okay, so another part that they talked about was about the kind of the topics that they touched on. And they really wanted to tackle more realistic life challenges versus they were saying a lot of video games are about these like big things like war and conflict, like large scale stuff.
Rather than like the day-to-day minutia of the kinds of things.
But they really wanted to tackle like the day-to-day things, like challenges that everybody's going to have to, not everybody's going to have to experience, but like is more likely.
A lot of people
would experience things like domestic violence, suicide, your friends being sick, getting paralyzed, accidents, all of that kind of thing. That's
your friend getting hit with footballs and toilet paper rolls and pretty much everything that possibly exists.
Yeah. And so they did a ton of research to make sure they tackled those topics in a way that was like really both authentic but also like careful with the subject, and make sure they were handling it with care, which is great. The writers and the directors seemed like they were really caring about that aspect. And interestingly, they got an American script writer to help them because they wanted that authenticity feel, and they were like, we have different lives than somebody in the Pacific Northwest would have. So they got an American scriptwriter, Christian Devine, to help make it feel like authentic to like a more American experience. And then lastly, they kind of speaking on the choices matter thing. They really wanted the game to feel like the impact of the choices you made were about not necessarily there being a very clear good or bad, which you had talked to me about as I was like, which one? And
they're
you were
just
like,
choices.
But it's a choice, and you have to, at some point, you have to live with that choice. Like, yes, you can rewind some of the aspects and change the choice you made, but at some point, there's going to be implications no matter what. And at some point, you have to even if you can rewind and choose something different, you have to pick one and live with the consequences of that one, which I thought was really cool that they were really thinking about that, and kind of about that aspect of real life of like, sometimes you have to just make a choice and live with it, and you don't necessarily know
if it's going to be the right one.
Yeah. Okay. Very, very last thing, because I think I've said last thing like 5 times. The mocap actors were actually different than the voice actors, so they did all of the
mocap actors?
Yeah.
Wow.
So they had mocap, and that really informed a lot of the animations of the characters. Voice acting was actually one of the last things that they did. But the mocap actors were there from the beginning, and they chose and it was in France. So the mocap actors were in France. And then they said that, the actors that they got for it, which I didn't write down the names, and I'm sorry about that, but the 2 women that they got for it were really good and also really embodied each of the characters physically. And it was really nice to have that as a reference point for the animations. And then the voice actors for Max and Chloe were, Max was a voice actor named Hannah Tell, and she really connected with Max as a character because she's also like a very shy person, and she felt like she went through the growth that Max goes through of like kind of coming more out of her shell as she was recording the dialogue.
That's
the
cute.
Voice actor for Chloe is actually a very famous voice actor, Ashley Birch. She does...
Oh, wait, I think I know that name.
Yeah, she does Aloy and a bunch of other stuff.
Oh, yes, that's why. Yeah.
She's like a very prolific voice actor and regular actor. Like, she's in a couple of things like...
Yeah, she was when I had looked it up after the
Mythic
Aloy
Quest, thing. Which is the...
Yes, that's the one. Yes. Yeah.
Which
I think we talked about it on
our
episode for Horizon Zero
Dawn.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So she was Chloe, and obviously she's like a fantastic voice actor, so she did great, knocked it out of the park. But yeah, there we go. That's all the how it's made that I have.
That's great. I honestly had no idea that they did mocap for this, but it makes sense because so much of it is animated. So it makes sense. I just didn't connect it in my head because it's 2015. And I guess to me that feels like Yeah,
and I'm curious if you'll get into it with critical reception, but I kind of left off a little bit about like the mismatch sometimes between the animation and the voice acting.
Yeah, so we'll jump into it. That wasn't a big piece, but that definitely was mentioned.
Well,
overall,
so that was like a choice that they had to make from like a budget perspective, and because they did the voice acting after the animation.
Oh, that definitely makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into it. Critical reception. This game was critically received very well. It had a 9 out of 10 on IGN and 85% on Metacritic, and was overwhelmingly positive on Steam. I will say that it's kind of interesting as I was going through all of the reviews this time, seeing the game is still getting played quite a bit, and because the new ones are coming out, right? the reviews that are being left right now in 2024 are really interesting to see side by side with the reviews that were left in 2015. And so a lot of my kind of searching around and reading through these reviews, I had to actually filter out to the newer and the older so I could kind of look across them and compare. Because this game in 2015, to your point, it was 2 women protagonists. There was definitely like LGBTQ plus like tones to the game for the majority of it. And it was very like teen girl focused. You know what I mean? And there was also, people even like mentioned things like climate change and whatever else. There were definitely like pieces in here that for the time period would definitely attract the kind of audience that would tend to leave hate comments, right?
Totally.
And so filtering through the positive and the negatives was interesting for this one. I'll start with the positives to say that the positives for this game and the negatives actually both were very like strong. The positives were so much more heartwarming than I feel like normal positive reviews are that we read. And I assume that's because so much of this was about like the human experience and the storytelling and those pieces. So you end up people feeling a lot more emotional about it in the end if they really liked it. People were super positive about the music and the story itself. And actually, quite a few reviews talked about how this game actually impacted the way that they think about life in general, which is ridiculously high praise. I know, really high praise. And you could tell, like, a lot of the positives, especially back in 2015, were a bunch of people just trying to be funny, which, you know, I get it. But you could tell that for at least the more serious positive reviews, that it was mostly people connecting to the characters, the story, and the emotions that they were feeling as they go through it. You could also see the updates in a lot of the reviews as the episodes rolled out.
Yeah.
So you'd get like a paragraph on how it was going, and then like an episode 2 update, 3, 4, 5, and they were all really fun to see because you see people slowly go from like, oh, teen girl stuff, yay, this is interesting, like who do we like, blah blah blah, you know, down to episode 5, and people are like, holy fucking shit, what the fuck, you know. So that was really fun to see as well. A couple of the ones that I pulled out for positive was this first one, and these are like snippets of longer ones, so this is hopefully contextual enough, but so the first one, you can tell a good story in a bad way, and you can tell a bad story in a good way. The story in this game might not be the most interesting story you've ever heard, but it's good, and the execution of it, you are drawn in, captured by it, and moved by it, which is, I thought, a very sweet way to say that. The second one that I had pulled was someone out there. This was at the time that those Telltale games were super, super, super popular, and they were feeling like
Walking Dead ones.
Yeah. So this one said, someone out there said, this world needs a game with Telltale's interactive story design, Gone Home's humanity and sincerity, and Majora's Mask's fantastical doom-ridden world. I sincerely hope my purchase of this game goes to their drug money because they were right. I assume because of the time traveling and like everything's doomed because of the storm. Yeah, but I thought that one was interesting because they pulled from so many. And like we actually talked about Gone Home a little bit because it was the precursor to the one game neither one of us really liked very much earlier this year. But
wait, which one?
The story driven one on Game Pass that was really short. Open Roads.
Oh,
yes,
yeah, we both didn't like that one.
Yeah, but that was like a follow-up to, not an actual sequel, but, you know, the same studios to Gone Homes, but Gone Home was received really well. We talked about that a little bit in that episode, but I thought this one was interesting because they took such different games and compared them, and I thought that was a unique way to state it. When we get into the negatives, like I said, some of them were just, I'm not going to read them on this podcast. Nobody needs that kind of negativity in their life. Don't need to time travel back to 2015 for some of this BS. What I will say was I did crack up when people were like, climate change propaganda. And I'm just like, it was so funny. It was just it was so stupid that it was funny.
Change propaganda.
I'm like, she's time traveling and altering the weather. Like, what are you talking about? But I will read one of them, and it's because remember, this is a negative, do not recommend down review. artsy lesbian teenage drama, butterfly effect edition out of 10. And I'm like, that sounds pretty good.
That sounds great. That's a 10 out of 10 for me.
Like, that's a very positive rating. So that one cracked me up because it's supposed to be a negative
review, not a negative one.
That's funny. But I will not read any of the others because they don't need to have any space. So the other negatives that are actually more legitimate about like the story itself were critical over things like the characters being one-dimensional, maybe a little unlikable in some of the cases. A lot of people didn't seem to connect with Max. Which I know.
Yeah, Max sucks, kind of.
Yeah, like we had critiques as you were replaying it, so I totally get those. People were critiquing the writing not aging super well. Those are mostly from like the newer reviews. That's one of the reasons I had to filter out, is because all of the ones in 2024 were like the writing did not age well because of all of the Tumblr-esque kind of slang that was popping up.
Oh, it was the slang. Okay.
It was the slang, and it was like the way that the teenager spoke, which if you actually go back to the positive reviews in 2015, the positive reviews sounded and looked exactly like how a lot of the speaking was in that game.
Interesting.
And so my very like 8 years later, 9 years later, whatever view is I do think that the writing itself was trying to be timely, but it was trying to be so timely that it ended up feeling really dated for the people who play it now. And so when I like sussed it out and I looked at only the new ones versus the old ones didn't at all talk about like the writing being way too cringe. Like there were people complaining about like the Tumblr girlness of it, but not, the actual writing.
Not it being cringy.
Yeah, but almost all of the negative reviews from 2024 were using the word cringe. And then the last couple of things, people didn't really like the voice animation, the face and voice animation together. They didn't really seem to line up. They said the lip syncing was poor. And then the last one was that the choices didn't really matter because of the way that the game ended. And all of that was kind of, all of those I feel like were super valid. People were also like, hey, maybe I'm just not the target demographic. Sorry. So a lot of those. One of the quotes that I will read from the negative ones, just to kind of sum it up. Actually, I have two, but I don't know if I'll read both. The first one, looking back, the game is pretty cringe. The developers perfectly recreated the most stereotypical caricatures of the types of high school teenagers. It reminds me of a Disney Channel show trying so hard to be edgy, which I think is valid. And then, no, I'll read the second one. I might have enjoyed this game if it didn't have one of the most pointless endings I have ever encountered across various types of media. The thing is, the premise is that your decisions matter and greatly affect the game, but that's not really the case at all, not even in the slightest. So people, I think, were ticked about the end.
Yeah, it's such a hard game to stick the landing for. And I think we'll talk about it.
Totally. Yeah.
But I feel like I have an alternate opinion. Not necessarily because I do understand it, but also it's like... anyways.
I also have an alternate opinion. I'm wondering if we have the same one, but we'll get there. Okay, and then that's it. That's all. I will read one last final quote for funsies, which is, choices really matter, so take care of your plant. And that's it. We're done.
Yeah, I like it. Okay. Yeah, let's get into it. I have no notes because I streamed it.
I took so many notes afterwards. I spent like 2 hours or 3 hours today re-summarizing the notes. Because
it would have been so miserable from a streaming perspective to be like, hold on, I'm going to take some notes.
Oh, you're totally right. You're totally right.
So because I streamed literally the whole thing, like episode 1 through 5, I have no notes.
Well, why don't I could maybe take us then through the storylines, and then we can just discuss the choices we made as we go through, because you'll probably remember those. And if not, I remember what you did. So it's fine.
I feel like I remember what I did. Yeah.
Yeah. And so maybe we start off with just like a high level mechanics, like how the game works. And do you want to maybe do that? And then we'll jump into the story?
Yeah. So high level, the game mechanics are essentially you have you walk around and then
Yeah.
you talk to people, and it'll highlight things you can interact with. So you can look at things or pick things up or talk to people, and it'll highlight it as you walk through, like who you can and cannot talk to. And then sometimes you can take a photo, because the protagonist, Max, is a little baby photographer. Yeah, so she has this Polaroid camera that she's kind of always, taking photos with, even though her photos are IMO pretty mediocre.
Pretty bad. They're pretty bad.
Which is really interesting. I thought it was also interesting that, like, one of the villains of the story had good photos. Nathan?
Yeah.
I don't know if they did that on purpose.
His were very, like, artistic. They had a point of view.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, so, and Victoria's photos were also shitty, so.
Pretty meh.
Yeah, and she, like, was one of the top students. I don't know. I don't get the way art works in this art school, I guess. But anyways, so that's kind of the mechanic, and you're walking around talking to things, and then at times you'll come up with a dialogue. You'll have a dialogue choice, and or you'll stumble upon a thing that you can,
change the outcome of.
Yeah. And you'll have to make a choice, and then when you make a choice, a little butterfly appears in the top corner, like butterfly effect, and that's your kind of signal that this choice is going to impact either small or big. You don't know.
I cannot express how much I love that. Like the little like ding, 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 and I'm like, oh fuck, what did I just do?
Because sometimes it's things that you aren't really even thinking would impact. Like it's a random like opening a window choice or opening a window, and then it'll have like the little butterfly. And that's really interesting. The last mechanic that is like the main one is Max, the main character. You learn in episode 1 has the power to rewind time. And so you can, throughout the story, throughout the game, rewind certain aspects and make different choices and see what those outcomes might be. But you still have to make a choice at the end of the day. There's no way to rewind and have it be best of both worlds, essentially.
Yeah, which I appreciate. And I mean, you talked about that a little bit earlier. I don't mind that you can see the immediate conversational outcome of making a choice, because most of the impact of those things are like culminations of a bunch of choices that, happen later. So you don't really know which one's right, quote unquote, or wrong, right?
Totally.
Or if there even is a right or wrong.
Yeah. And a lot of the times there's not. Like, I guess we'll get into it when we start looking at each of the big story beats, but there's one with Kate that with like the thing that you view. Anyways, we'll get into it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll get into it, but yes. I think the only other thing that might be worth mentioning
text messages?
Is the journal text message thing. Yeah.
Which is the last kind of mechanic is you have a journal, and the journal is also where you can see your text messages. So I barely use the journal. I'm assuming that the journal could be a way to figure out like what to do next if you're like stumped, maybe. Like maybe it's a reference point of like, here's what you should be doing. I never use the journal, but you will get text messages from characters, and then you read the text messages. You can't answer the text messages. Max will just answer them. So it's more just like reading different character interactions. So sometimes if you'll make a choice, like another character will send you a text message about it as an example.
Definitely a little way to make it feel like your choices matter just a bit more, because people are kind of interacting and responding to it in a really probably lightweight to engineer way,
Yeah.
Okay, do we just want to dive in then to the story?
Let's do episode 1.
Yeah, so there are 5 total episodes.
Yeah.
Episode 1, we can start, like, I'll just talk through it, and then let's stop at the choices and, like, talk through them if they're interesting. Does that sound good? Okay, so Chrysalis, you start with a giant storm. Whoosh, 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 big tornado thing happening, but tornado, I guess? I don't know. And
it's like a huge tornado.
A huge tornado, but surprise, it's quote unquote just a dream, question mark, and you're at school. You have moved back to your hometown of Arcadia Bay from Seattle. Woo-hoo. To go to a private art school. Is that what this is? And you're primarily there because Mr. Jefferson is like this well-known photographer, and you're like, yeah, I gotta get my classes from him. And so that's kind of where you start, is you're in your school actually playing. And the first big moment is when you go to the bathroom, and you end up getting kind of trapped in there with this guy who wanders in, Nathan, with a gun, right? And he's over there like panicking. You have not figured out that you have magical powers yet. A person you apparently don't recognize comes in with bright blue hair, and they're arguing back and forth, and then she gets shot by the guy with the gun. And you then magically find out that you have timey-wimey rewind powers. You reverse time, save Chloe is the girl, you'll find out. Save her from getting shot. Nathan, the guy, runs out, and then you stumble into your first big choice, which is tattling or not tattling. And Maddie, what did you do?
I tattled, baby.
I didn't.
You didn't?
I went back to my answers. I played this in 2016, so this is 8 years ago now. And I apparently made some choices that I would not have made today. I will take that, and we'll see when we get there what those are.
Interesting.
But no, I apparently hid the truth. I guess I didn't think that it was going to do anything, and I thought it would make maybe Nathan go after me is like the best that I could.
And that's what he did.
Assume. And that is what he did, because you got that terrible message, like it wasn't blood, but like whatever, in your room. And I never got that. And I was like, so I must not have tattled, and I didn't.
Text messages from him that were like, I'm going to get tattle. You. Yeah. So I did tattle. I tattled, baby.
Mm-hmm. And I assume that like.
That was one I took no time on. And you were
took
like,
no time.
You're like, why did you take any time? I was like, fuck that guy. I'm gonna tattle. I'm a snitch.
Yeah, stitches. Stitches get stitches, Annie. It wasn't that I didn't want to tell him. It was just that like I didn't think it would do anything, you know. And then blah blah blah. You keep going. We get the iconic line of "Go fuck your selfie," which I swear to God, I think they use at least 5 times.
Oh God.
In this game. At least 4 times.
Yeah.
And then you get another like minor choice kind of, which is whether or not you want to comfort Victoria. So, you know, y'all are arguing and she's making fun of your selfie taking or whatever. And you can choose to comfort or not comfort her. But did you comfort her? Right?
I comforted her. Yeah. Which
I have no idea.
Later down the line means she's more like empathetic towards me.
Yeah, and like stuff happens in the end where apparently Victoria can choose to trust or not trust. So I assume this culminates to that somehow.
I think so.
Yeah. And then we get to the part that you were talking about Kate. Do you want to talk about that? Like after you like get into the school building, like at this point there's not really story, right? Like you're literally just wandering around, you're making some choices, like trying to find Warner's USB stick or something silly. And so nothing really interesting in my opinion after the shooting starts to happen until you get into the moment with David and Kate yelling.
So this next moment that you stumble upon is this security guard yelling at Kate, your classmate, who you've kind of seen, and she's more shy. She's obviously like kind of religious. And like more conservative, at least in the way she dresses. And so the security guard is like yelling at her and she's super uncomfortable. And the choice that you can make is like step in or take a photo. And I originally took a photo, and then Kate was like, gee, thanks. Like, you just took a photo and, like, didn't help me out there. And I was like, oh, no. And so I rewinded it and I stepped in. And she was like, thanks for helping me. And so I stuck with that one because at the time, it was the one that had the better outcome in that moment. That moment. Which one did you do?
I also intervened. But what's interesting is, before I'd watched you streamed, I had watched somebody else stream, and they picked the, like, take a photo piece, and Kate was peed off for
Yeah.
like a whole ass chapter after that. Like, she was mad. And so I don't know if taking the picture actually really helped too much.
Yeah.
So I feel like intervening seemed like an okay choice.
Yeah. I think so too. But that's kind of the next big choice that you make, and that impacts your relationship with Kate throughout the rest of the story and how she perceives you, which is really interesting because my original thought process behind taking the photo was, oh, like it's proof that he's being a weirdo with this student. And then, you know, but she doesn't perceive it that way.
Did we ever figure out what they were even arguing about? Because I couldn't remember if we figured out what they were arguing about at all.
I think that I honestly have no idea. I'm wondering if the security guard was like, why are you going to parties? Like, that's not like you or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
that's my best guess. But I don't know why he would like yell at her.
Right? Like, I don't feel like it was ever clearly explained. He was just yelling at her.
No,
in
I
this
don't think
parking
so.
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is weird.
Yeah.
Whatever. But anyway, you wander out to the rest of the parking lot and you run into Nathan, the school shooter, I guess. And he gets
crazy.
He's so crazy. And then you get surprise saved by your best friend from childhood, Chloe, who somehow you didn't notice was the girl in the bathroom. And I still don't believe it. I still do not believe it. And then this is where we also learn that Max is a terrible friend.
Yeah, so we learn that Max went to Seattle after Chloe's dad died, like literally like weeks after Chloe's dad died, and then like didn't fucking talk to her for 5 years, even though they were inseparable best friends. And then even when she moved back, didn't reach out to her.
Right.
Which is frankly insane behavior.
No, it is. It's absolutely insane. And like, she didn't recognize her in the bathroom, I feel like says miles. Like, I don't know.
Crazy.
Max is not a good friend.
No.
Not a good friend.
So you hop in the car with her.
Yeah, go ahead.
And you like talk to Chloe. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think you, looking at my notes, it looks like you end up at her house, and this is where you find out that her stepdad is David, the security guard.
Yeah.
And he is also a piece of garbage. Although, Maddie, I swear to God, as you were streaming it, there were so many times you're like, I don't feel like David's that bad. And I just like, he hit children.
So he seemed troubled, but it was just more gray to me, I think, than you interpreted it, which I think is super fair. Like,
yeah,
to be clear, I think your interpretation is very fair and probably like the right one. But I just like, they give him a little backstory where he's this like war veteran, and he is obviously like taking his job super seriously, like too
That's true.
seriously.
He is doing that. Yeah.
Honestly, too seriously as a school security guard. Yeah. And I think he obviously really cares for Joyce, Chloe's mom. And I think that there's just moments where you're like, he's like, there's some like redeeming moments. And yes, they argue and he like slaps Chloe, and that's very bad. But then they kind of also show some other parts of him throughout the story that are a bit redeeming, where he's like really cares about Chloe. He like actually genuinely cares about her. And I think that, well, I just think it's interesting. It speaks to what they were trying to do with like these moments of, or like these topics where it's like, well, domestic violence isn't necessarily always like super black and white. There's like gray to it that people experience, right? Which is super interesting, I think.
Yeah. I hated him throughout, which you'll see apparently like shown in my choices. I don't know what like 22-year-old me was like up to when she played this game, but she did not like David.
Yeah.
She did not like him. And so, like, I think the first choice that we have with him is whether or not he comes in, storms in, and he's really mad. You found that he's, like, spying on shit in their house, which is a little weird. and that he has student files, which I don't remember what was in them because Maddie didn't read them. So I do not know.
I didn't read the files.
It's in the files.
It's really funny because I reached for the files and they spilled coffee, and then I was like, I'm just going to rewind that choice and not go back to it.
So I don't know what's in the files. And we have the chance to, like, you're supposed to hide in a closet, and then they argue or whatever, and you have the choice to step out, and even if you choose to stay hidden versus step out, there's more choices after that. So, like, if you step out, you can choose to take the blame or blame Chloe, like, if you step out. And I don't remember what you did, actually. Maddie, what did you do?
I stayed hidden.
You stayed hidden. Okay,
Yeah.
That's why I don't remember what you did. I took the blame for Chloe. So I not only stepped out, but I was like, no, it's my weed. It's me. I'm the stoner. I'm a terrible influence, which is a wild. And they make jabs at me later in the thing. I remember. And you didn't get those jabs because I was watching, like, when you meet Joyce and, like, David and talk to them and stuff, they call me, like, a stoner and a terrible influence, and, like, I need to get my life back on track and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, it's your daughter, but that's fine. It's fine.
Interesting. Whereas my dialogue choices were Chloe needs to get her life on track, blah, blah, blah. Got it.
Yeah. Which is interesting. And then I think that's the end. You, like, learn that Chloe stole her dad's gun, which is crazy, a crazy thing to do.
Crazy.
And that is, I think, the end of that episode.
Yeah.
Where you're like chilling with Chloe still, and that's it. There's not, like, really big things in the first one.
And usually each episode ends with, like, a really nice, like, song and montage. Kind of.
Yes. They're always really so liked. Good. Yeah. And then you get your stats of, like, all the things that you pick.
Let's talk about that for a second, because that was really fun. I've only experienced that one other time, and it was when we played Oxenfree, actually.
Yes.
I wonder if Oxenfree borrowed from this one, or if that's like or was that from Telltale or something?
That's a good question.
Telltale?
The Telltale games. I never actually played the Telltale games, but I assume.
I haven't either. I don't know who did it first, but I really like it.
Yeah,
I think
it's one of my favorite
really
features.
Interesting because you can see how both, like, everybody else compares to the choices that you made from a stats perspective. Like, it'll say 48% people chose to stay hidden versus, 52% chose to come out and blah, 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 and, like, save or help Chloe or whatever.
Or it'll say, like, 85% of people got invited to the Vortex Club party and Maddie didn't.
It's funny because there was multiple
so
times.
Many opportunities.
Multiple times when I could have been invited to this fucking party. I completely missed it. It was in multiple chapters. Like, I think I could have gotten invited as early as episode 2, all the way up until the party in episode. So it was like 2, 3, and 4. I missed all 3.
Yes. When I went back and looked, one of the things that exists in this story that we haven't gotten to is the fact that, like, there's this Vortex Club and all the popular kids are a part of it. Victoria, Nathan, whoever, blah, blah, blah. They're having a big party. You are not invited. And I went back, and when I was checking my choices, I did get invited in the second episode. And so then all the rest of them was like, you're already invited. Like, great.
Check.
But it did show it in, like, all 3 of them. So you had multiple opportunities, Maddie, and somehow you missed every single one.
Missed every single one. But yeah.
But I do love seeing, like, friends' choices, like, general, like, what I did versus the population.
The other thing that you can do is you can filter it based on your friends' choices. So your other friends that have also played the game. So that's, like, the other interesting thing is you can toggle between. And that, at the ending, was actually very illuminating for me. Because I was the only person in my friend group to make the choice that I did.
Yes, you did. Which we'll
the only thing that I wish it would have listed out the friends that had played.
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
It just says friends, but it didn't tell me, like, who.
I'm also wondering if I was even a part of your friend choices because I played on Steam and you were on Xbox.
Oh, see, then probably not. Yeah.
Yeah, so probably not, but... Yeah.
Anyways.
Okay, I need to speed us along because we are. And
God.
I'm going to, I know. So, like, literally the topic, I'm going to do, like, the main topics of this one, which is, like, the main things we've learned thus far is just that, like, what's his face? Nathan is a bad guy. He's clearly upset about something and now out to get you. The principal covered it up. You are sad about Kate, and that is like the main part of section 2, episode 2. And like you've re-met Chloe and she hates her stepdad. But that's really like all we know so far. We also know that Chloe's friend, Rachel Amber, is missing. So that's like a really big plot point that takes us through the next few chapters. This chapter is really all about like Kate and Rachel Amber. So you, during this leg of the story, you spend some time like trying to comfort Kate for some incidents where she went to a Vortex Club party and there were some recordings made of her that were not super great.
When she was drugged.
Yes, it was very heavily implied that she was like assaulted. We think it's Nathan, but I don't know at the time if that's like fully confirmed or not.
Something
and so a lot of
to Kate, essentially.
Yes, something. And a lot of the choices you make in this one are about like how you treat Kate. So it's like, how do you deal with Kate wanting to go to the police or not? Or how do you answer Kate's phone call? And I think I picked most of the positive actions towards Kate. And I think you did too, Maddie.
I did too. I didn't tell her to go to the police because I said, we need to get proof first.
Yes, I did that too. Yeah.
And then I said I did take the call. So she had a generally favorable, especially because with like the David altercation, I had stepped in. I generally had like a favorable relationship with Kate going into like the big thing.
Yeah. The only other things that you do in this section are you finally spill to Chloe that you can, change time, reverse time and stuff, which she does eventually believe. And then you meet Frank, who is I don't know
drug
if
dealer.
I would consider him. Yeah, like he's an antagonist.
He's like a local drug dealer that is ambiguous in his like goodness.
Yes, exactly. And I think you learn that he has kind of a relationship with Chloe and Rachel Amber, the missing girl, because of their, drug paraphernalia shenanigans. And so you do have the choice to like shoot him or not shoot him in this junkyard, whereas
or try to shoot him because the gun doesn't have any bullets.
Yeah, exactly. I apparently also tried to shoot him, which was crazy because when you shot him, I was like, you shot him! And I don't think today I would have chosen that choice. And apparently back then I was like, fuck that motherfucker.
Yeah.
Shoot him up. And then you get to the actual big event of the game for chapter 2, which is Kate. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, this was like this is the one that haunts me throughout the rest. So you go back to school after hanging out with Chloe for a bit, and then you come upon a bunch of people who are looking at Kate, and she's on the roof of the school about to jump. And part of leading up to this, Max was kind of feeling like her powers were kind of faltering or whatever, like they weren't as stable. And so she sees Kate jump off and kill herself. I don't know if there's a gentler way for me to say that. And she rewinds time, or she starts to try to rewind time, but it's obviously like really impacting her. And she like her nose starts bleeding, and like her head's kind of like fuzzy and everything's fuzzy, but she does manage to rewind time enough to make it to the roof to try to convince Kate to not jump off. And so this one, though, you cannot rewind. Once you get to the roof and start talking to Kate, there is no going back. You cannot rewind the choices that you make in the dialogue. So as I was streaming this, I was like, oh, no. I can't rewind. And I started trying to make dialogue choices because you're talking to her and there's a lot of choices. So there's a lot of opportunity for it to go wrong. And you have to select the right one at each step for her to eventually not jump. Because I read afterwards, like most roads lead to her jumping. So you have to get things like exactly right for her to not jump. And one of the very last things is you try to convince her that other people besides you care about her. And you're like, what about your dad or your mom or your sisters or your brothers. That was like the dialogue wheel of choice. And
Yeah.
I had remembered reading an email in her room from her dad where her dad was kind of like semi-disappointed in her or something. And so I was like, okay, maybe not the dad, probably not the mom, because it seems like the parent relationship is a bit weird. And then I was
Yeah.
stuck between brothers and sisters, and I didn't know which one she had or if she had both or which relationship was better. And so I think I picked brothers and she had sisters, or the other way around. I can't remember.
Yeah.
And it was the
Yeah.
wrong one. And she was like, you weren't even listening to me. I don't even have brothers, or I don't even have. And then she jumps and I was like, fuck.
Oh, man, devastating.
And I tried so hard. I like
It's true.
paused. I tried to restart. It wouldn't let
Yeah.
me. I tried to rewind.
She
I
tried
was
to
like,
cheat.
I 100% wanted to cheat. I
Yeah.
100% wanted to cheat.
I'm glad they didn't let you, Maddie.
I tried, they have like a thing where it was like start over from last checkpoint, but the
Yeah.
last checkpoint was the scene
Was
after
after?
she, and I was like, no! And I was so dramatic about it.
You were. It's true. I did, in fact, save Kate. So
Wow.
I thought I hadn't, but I apparently did. Pretty proud of myself for that one. But apparently there are like scenes that you get if she's alive, like going to the hospital and visiting her and asking her like how she's doing and all that kind of stuff. But I honestly thought that I didn't save her, but apparently I did.
It's really interesting because so much of the story, I feel, revolves around Kate dying in the second half that I'm so curious, like, how that's, like, how they handle that, because there's so many of the students that are feeling guilty for how they, like, bullied her. And
I
then,
think they still feel that way because she's still, like, afterwards, they pull her down and
so
she's
maybe
in the
they just
hospital.
kind of lessened the
Yeah, and, like,
impact.
if she dies, then Nathan gets expelled. But if she doesn't die and she lives, she goes to the hospital, so she's still not around. And Nathan only gets suspended, but then he's still not in school. So they like it's like all of the punishments were just a little less, and the guilt was less. And like, I'm sure there are other things like dialogue options on those kinds of things. And like I said, you get like a special scene where you can go and visit her in the hospital later. But the big stuff, like the fact that Nathan's been kicked out kind of, and that Kate's not there for the second half, is consistent.
So there's one other part of episode 2 that I want to briefly mention because it's going to come up later.
Who do you blame? Who you blame?
So
Yeah.
there's a part where it's who do you blame, but I will say that before that, Kate is obviously going through a really terrible time. And
Yeah.
you actually see her have a bit of a tiff with Mr. Jefferson earlier in the episode that really upsets her. I can't remember what it's about. I think he was like, I'm disappointed in you or something. And because the adults in this story just absolutely trash.
They're all garbage. All of them.
Absolutely trash. Adults suck.
Maybe not Joyce-ish, but she kind of is, but they're all garbage.
I mean,
Yeah.
she doesn't seem impacted enough by her husband hitting her kid.
Yeah,
me,
exactly.
Like,
Yeah,
that would be like, you're out of here.
She sides with David over her child, which is an incorrect action.
Yeah. Or she, like, sympathizes. She's like, I'm not happy about it.
That's a good,
But it's like, okay, that's too weak of a reaction. Anyways, so this is when I believe I was like, Mr. Jefferson is giving me bad vibes. I bet he's the bad guy.
I think that is correct. I think that's when you said it. I was so surprised by how early you said it.
Yeah, episode 2. So I'm saying it here of like, after that little tiff that I saw, I was like, well, and I also thought he was giving weird vibes from even episode 1 in the classroom, because I was like, he's trying to connect with his students too much, and it's fucking weird. Like, he was having these like weirdly emotional conversations with Victoria and Max, and I was like, this teacher is very fucking weird. Like,
I thought if anything, we were going to get a storyline that like he and Victoria were doing the Pretty Little Liars, Ezra Arya thing. Like, that's what I thought we were going to get out of it. Like, he's clearly going to be like a bad person, but I thought that that was the line that they were going to draw for him. Just like how David was kind of a bad person for like how seriously he was taking the surveillance and the like hitting Chloe. Like, I thought everyone was going to have like kind of a bad thing that made them feel bad. But you called it really early, and I definitely did not.
Yeah, because there was this like mystery about like what has happened to Amber. Like, that's like one of the big mysteries that you're trying to figure out. And I was like, I wonder if he like kidnapped her and like has her in his basement or something. And like, I didn't think that she had died at that point, but I was like, well, I was hoping she hadn't died, I guess. But I was just like, teacher's bad. But when you go into the principal's office after Kate kills herself, you lay the blame on someone. And to be honest, Nathan was the most obvious choice at the time. So I did still make the choice to blame Nathan.
You did talk about blaming Mr. Jefferson, though.
But I did talk about blaming Mr. Jefferson. I just thought it was like a bit of a reach to be like, Mr. Jefferson called her to jump because they had one argument earlier today. Yeah. Versus Nathan had actually drugged her. Like, you were really, like at that point, like you're convinced that Nathan had drugged her at that party.
It's true. I still blamed David, apparently.
Oh, you blamed David. So David, the security guard, you can also blame. And the principal makes actually an interesting argument where he was like, she should have never been able to get up on that roof. Like, you didn't lock the door like you should have. And so that's like interesting. And I think that also weighs on David.
Yeah. And like, I think rewatching it now a few times since I've played, I think Nathan feels like the natural choice there. And most people did pick it. Like, if you looked at the stats, it was something like 70 or I don't know, some gross amount, 60 or 70% pick Nathan. I think in my headspace where I was with David is I saw him arguing with Kate and I didn't know why. It felt very suspicious, and like, especially in the area. He was definitely
a suspect because he had the weird surveillance stuff.
And he had
also had files about Amber, and so there was like
and about what's her face, Kate. And so like, I really thought that there was enough there that like if there was something weird going on that like is bigger than one party, then like maybe it was that, because at the time we weren't really sure like what actually happened, if Kate was just like drugged and so she was partying too hard, or if something worse and more nefarious happened afterwards, you know what I mean? And so I think in my head I was like, I think it's bigger than just last night, and so I think that it is David, which it ends up being, you know, neither one, but that's fine.
Yeah.
But you did get a dialogue option later in the game, though, when Mr. Jefferson was like, thank you so much for blaming Nathan, because now it'll make me easier to pin all this shit on him, which I was like, oh, what an interesting little twist.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Okay. Episode 3.
Okay. Episode 3, Chaos Theory. So this one, I don't remember, since it was so long ago, how different it is if Kate's still alive, other than like the little cutscenes. But the core things that you're doing in this one is you're trying to uncover more information about Rachel Amber being missing with Chloe. So you break into the school. You have the choice to steal some money or not steal some money. I think we both stole some money. Yeah, boy, because who doesn't want to steal money from a crooked principal? I think we all do. And then you get like a little romantic pool scene with Chloe after that, where you're I
can't, I'm like
I wanted it to be more romantic.
I think like I actually get more romantic feelings from Chloe when she talks about Rachel, actually.
No, definitely. I think Max is more into Chloe, but Chloe is more into Rachel. I think they just did like a little chain of people who were into the people that weren't into them.
And I wonder if it was even supposed to be read that way, because the kiss was so damn awkward.
It was so awkward. So that's what happens afterwards, is you like wake up in the morning and you have the opportunity to kiss Chloe. And man,
and Chloe's like, I dare you to kiss me, like as a joke, and you can either kiss her or not. And I kissed her, but it was like real weird. It felt weird.
It was weird because like in a thing where she was also into you, I think you would have expected like the awkward kiss and then like a giggle laugh thing and then another kiss. You know what I mean?
Or like even the first kiss would have been like, you like surprise at first and then you lean into it.
Yeah, and then you lean into something. Yeah. But it wasn't.
Maybe my
was
brain
really
is
just
like too much in like romance books because which maybe we'll have time for an off topic. But I don't know if I want to admit to the world what I spent my weekend doing.
But no, I agree with you. The kiss was only awkward, not romantic. I did not see any sparks fly. There were no sparks.
No sparks to be had.
Absolutely none. And then you can like side with Chloe after that, with like David.
And I did side with Chloe still, because you can also side with David, and I think it depends. It determines whether he gets kicked out or not.
Oh, okay, interesting. I never thought about that, but no, you're totally right.
Yeah.
And then after that, I think like the second half of this part is you're trying to go get evidence from Frank's trailer. So Frank is the drug dealer guy. You apparently can accidentally kill his dog here. Did you know that?
I did it. You watched me do it.
This is a different one. Like, you have 2 opportunities to kill Frank's dog, I think. And at this point,
this one with the traffic?
Yes, this is the traffic. Yeah, apparently you can kill Frank's dog in traffic earlier than later when you can also kill Frank's dog. So this dog just has like Final Destination shit on his back.
Which also
Poor little pup.
What a nightmare if you are the person killing a dog in a video game.
Right? Oh, ugh.
Ew.
If people didn't rewind that choice, I'm really upset. But you break into his trailer, you figure out that like Frank was canoodling with Rachel Amber.
And this is where I felt like Chloe had a huge crush on Rachel because she acted so jealous.
She was so mad.
She was really jealous.
Mad.
Really jealous. And I was like, that's romantic jealousy. That is not friendship jealousy.
I agree. Yeah. I totally agree.
So it's really interesting that I felt chemistry between Chloe and a character we never even met.
So apparently in the prequel, you do meet Rachel, and I think you play as Chloe and Rachel. So maybe you get more of that. But yeah, so at that point, you guys fight, and then you're waxing nostalgic. So you're like, I'm going to look at old pictures of us. And then it turns out that your time traveling superpower is actually gives you the ability to go back in time through photographs. And you manage to go back in time to the day that Chloe's dad dies. And you decide that you're going to make things better for Chloe. And to do that, you must save her dad, which you do. And then, you get a lot of really cute pictures of Chloe and her dad growing up together, which was super adorable.
Yep.
And then you reawaken and you're like popular now. You're like friends with Victoria.
It's weird.
And all that BS. It's so weird. I do not believe in any alternate reality that Max is friends with the popular kids. I'm so sorry. I do not believe it. But she's like, oh my God, I gotta go check on Chloe. So she goes to visit Chloe. Apparently this is also her first time visiting Chloe.
Because she's still a bad friend and hasn't talked to her.
Still a terrible friend. And when she opens the door, you get the finale scene of episode 3, which is Chloe has been fully paralyzed and is very sick. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Episode 4. There's less and less choices as the episodes go on, which is also... Which makes sense because the story's kind of closing in on itself a little bit, right?
Yeah. And I will say that it's a fairly linear story, even with the choices. It's just that the world seems to kind of shift around the things that you do, if that makes sense. Yeah. Okay, so then Chloe's sick. You can choose to off her with morphine when she begs you to die, which is devastating.
Wild.
Absolutely devastating. Watching you have to do it on stream was kind of wild.
It was really
I don't know. It was really, and she's like begging.
Really fucked up. It was like fucked up the portrait they painted, which was, to their credit, like very good. Like her medical bills were out of this world. Her parents were still really happy in love, which was heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Like, her dad is still like amazing, and her mom was also like amazing and supporting her. And then but the bills were like stacking up, and you like see like overdue bills like everywhere around the house as you're walking around. And then yeah, Chloe's like, my respiratory system is failing and I'm going to die anyways. And so I want it to be on my terms. Will you please like help me die by overdosing me on morphine? And
horrifying.
I said, sure, because I don't know, just it felt like the right thing to do. And then you rewind again.
And then you rewind, so it doesn't really matter. But it is a very devastating little scene that they paint.
Yeah. Very sad. You rewind again, back to the same day, and then you don't save the dad. And then she's like, I'm so sorry, Chloe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then I think...
And actually, I want to talk about what you said, because you were like, I think I would take being paralyzed if my dad was still alive. And then and then it got more, and I was
it got darker after that.
It got darker after that, because that was before you learned that she was like terminal.
Yeah, I thought that one, that she wasn't terminal, she was just paralyzed, and two, I in my head didn't calculate medical bills because I'm, whatever. I guess I'm an adult now, but that's fine. But like, I didn't have those pieces necessarily, and you definitely see like the weariness of both of the parents, which no parent is ever gonna say like, no, kill my child. Like nobody's gonna do that, but you can just definitely see like the pain that they're having because of the pain that Chloe has. Yeah. It just gets so much darker. But I did really think at the beginning, I was like, if it was just paralysis and my brain still worked and I had the ability to like think and communicate and dictate and those kinds of things, but I wasn't in pain, like I thought she was just paralyzed. Mm-hmm. And she could still, like, I would probably choose that if that meant that like my dad got to live a whole ass life, because I felt like, I don't know, all I do is sit on my ass anyway. I know that that's really reductionizing it. But, like, I feel like I could find a way to live a fulfilling life as long as I had mental function. But it got worse.
Yeah, it got worse after that. And I also think that as a parent, you would take the opposite choice every time.
Oh, definitely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Like if you were to ask your dad, he'd be like, nah, I'm gone.
Yeah. Absolutely no question. Yeah. and 100% if you would have asked Chloe's dad, he would have said that. Like, He was such a nice guy. He would have absolutely been like, I want none of this. Like, I would gladly. So it was the right choice. It was just a really hard choice.
It was really hard. It was really hard, really hard. Sad. And I feel like going back in time and reliving the scene and not intervening again was like really hard. Rough. Yeah. Because you like every single step, you're like, oh God, oh God, oh God, as you just watch it happen. Yeah. Rough. Okay. So are we still in episode 4?
We are still in episode 4. We are literally just at the beginning of episode 4, but like the rest of 4 is pretty, well, actually, I don't know. There's kind of a few things. So, one, you need to go get evidence from Nathan. So you want to go poke around Nathan's room and get shit there.
That's right.
If you're Maddie, you let Warren beat the shit out of Nathan till nothing is left. If you're anyone else, you don't let that happen.
Was that one where I picked like the least by a lot? Oh, interesting.
By a lot. It was like 20 and 80 or something.
Okay, Nathan was the kind of kid, like the kind of rich kid that needed to get his ass kicked. Like,
it's
sometimes you just like, sometimes a rich asshole needs to get his ass kicked.
Yeah, and
like,
maybe Warren.
Let's imagine a world in which Elon Musk gets his ass kicked. Do you think he would course correct his personality in a small way? Like, absolutely, like, get his ass
back
like,
in like 2004, he gets his ass whipped. Yeah. But it was kind of nice seeing it happen and not having to be the one who chose it. So that
was another one I made. I had like no hesitation.
Yeah, you were just like, fucking no, beat him. Oh my God, yeah. And then we get to the other part of, we wanted to go back to Frank's trailer to get more information from Frank, and that's where you have the time.
This is where I have the one that I had to redo like 3 times, because the first time I did it, I shot the dog and Frank.
Yes.
And I was like, oh my God, please no.
Apparently you can leave that as an option, though. I just assumed that you had to get through without killing Frank, but you can apparently kill Frank and like finish the scene.
Well, yeah, I mean, I did it. Like, that was an option. You could just walk into the trailer after that. And
for some reason in my head, I thought that you like had to go back and redo it and rewind.
No.
You were just like, you had to.
Yeah, I had to.
Emotionally had to.
Yeah. It's like, I cannot murder a dog named Pompidou.
Yeah, exactly. And so here's where we get to the actual wild part of this chapter, which is like after you have found all of these clues from Frank and David and Nathan, you have like a little murder board where you put like stuff together and figure out that there's this like old abandoned barn thing that's owned by Nathan's family. And you go there, you find this dark room, which in retrospect is a very obvious hint that the photographer teacher is the fucking dude, because it's called a fucking dark room, which I don't understand why I didn't.
Well, so the other thing that I will add that, like, I knew it was not Nathan because Nathan would be too obvious, although I knew, like, obviously Nathan is still involved in some way, right? Because it's his family and he did drug Kate, so he's involved in some way, but
he's not masterminding it.
He's not a mastermind here. And it is like a photography darkroom, and then I extra called it here. I was like, oh yeah, it's
yes. Yeah, you were like, it's clearly him. And I'm just like, Maddie trying to spoil every single second of fun, but that's fine. And then instead of going to the police, as true to teenage shows, behavior. You instead go to the junk. So you find a picture of Rachel Amber's body, and you're like, I'm going to go to the junkyard and dig up her fucking body, which they go do, which is insane. Still has not. They find the body, still didn't call the police. And then they go to the Vortex Club party to warn Victoria because she's like next on the list based on what they found in the dark room. Again, not like, why even warn her? Why not just go to the police? Anyway, you warn her. Hopefully she believes you. Did she believe you? She did, right? Like you guys ended up on a good foot.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. And she did for me as well. And then Jefferson announces that Victoria won the photo contests because apparently a teacher is throwing this insane high school drunk party club thing, which is also insane. And then for some reason,
it's
I still
on
couldn't.
School property.
It's on school property.
And it has underage drink, like prolific underage drinking.
Yes, it's wild. Absolutely insane. And the teacher's even there. Like the teachers are
there.
So weird.
And a student recently killed themselves and they still had this party.
Well, and another one's missing. And I don't know. It's just insane. And then apparently go back to the junkyard after that instead of to the police. And while you're back at the junkyard, I don't know why we went back there, but we did. We see Chloe get shot, and then we turn
in the head,
and face
like point blank.
In the head. Yes, it's like no questions asked. Chloe is dead. You turn, slow, fuzzy zoom in to Jefferson's weird ass face, looking down at you, being like, and then you get, and then the episode ends. Done.
Yeah,
I was so mad.
Yeah. There's a lot happening in this one. I feel like for me, this is where the story faltered like a little bit for me. Just like a little bit.
Why not go to the police?
Well, there's just so many, like you find the dark room and you find binders of underage girls like drugged and photographed and like in handcuffs and shit, like tied up. And you're not like, oh fuck, like FBI, like 911.
Yeah, exactly. Serial killer shit in this basement.
That is literally serial killer shit. Then on top of that,
you find a dead body.
And then your thought is, let's go to the high school party?
Right, to warn her about it? You wouldn't need to warn her.
No. So it wasn't about warning Victoria. It was about getting Nathan. Because at this point,
it was just about getting... Oh, you're right. Chloe was on a rampage.
Yeah,
you're
Chloe
right.
was like,
you're right.
I'm going to make Nathan pay. And she had her stepdad's gun and was like, going to go murder him. But like, that would have been too easy of an explanation that it was just Nathan. And like, the fact that she would just think like, oh, I'm going to go to this high school party to like, murder this kid instead of calling the police is wild.
Absolutely insane. It's some real... I know that we made jokes about it while you were streaming, but I'm in like season 3 of Pretty Little Liars right now, and I do think it's very Pretty Little Liars coded. I stand by this. This is exactly what they would have done. A would have sent a text message.
Shit. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they would have been like, oh my God, we need to go warn them and get them on our own because we can't trust the police, whatever. But it definitely, like, I feel like they could have tightened this part quite a bit. But I was still, like, in it to win it the whole time.
No, I was still in it. I just, like, the believability for me just got, like, a bit... And
I agree.
I guess it's, like, unfair criticism. Like, I should just not think about that kind of thing. But for that piece, I was just like, oh my God, this is crazy behavior. And it had already been crazy behavior leading up to that. And then I was just like, that is extra, like, insane.
I think if they would have, instead of finding the dark room this early, if it would have been some other kind of clue that really heavily but did not concretely point, you know what I mean? Then you could have had pretty much the exact same plot beats, but without already having the dark room knowledge. Then when you ended up in the dark room in episode 5, it would hit really hard because you're like, oh crap, where the F am I? But also then you wouldn't have as much of a reason to go to the police just yet because it would have just been like, you have no evidence, here's hearsay. But like they give you an entire room of evidence that nobody knows that you have found. So it's such a clear way to go to the police. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I also just thought like, just the party was like really took me out of it. And then I had to do the thing that I also do with some CW shows where I just pretend it's college instead.
Oh.
Because you're just like this, or like I do that with Euphoria, like the high school.
Yes.
This is not fucking high school. Like, I'm sorry. Like, is it? Maybe it is.
I don't know. Maybe I was too nerdy for me to have these kind of high school experiences.
It's crazy. Anyways, okay. Episode 5.
And episode 5 is where it gets trippy AF. And you might have to talk to this one a little bit more, Maddie, because I have like the bullet points, but honestly, it's so trippy that it was hard to write it all down. Like, you are in the dark room, and the way that you've decided to escape from the dark room is you're going to like time travel right through photographs.
Through photographs, yeah. That's your goal. That's what you try to do, because you're tied up, and then there's like a cart that you need to try to get to look at a photo on the cart to try to travel back.
Yeah. And I don't remember how quickly it happens, but eventually it felt like really fast. You solved it and you like got to your very first selfie that Mr. Jefferson had for whatever reason. And you go back in time, text David like, hey, here's where this barn shit is. Go do it. Mm-hmm. And then you turn in your photo for the photo competition and Jefferson goes to prison and you win. Isn't this like right at the beginning?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And you kept saying, it's too good to be true. It's too good to be true.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah.
Well, and then what makes it too good to be true?
Well, because it happened right at the beginning. Jefferson goes to prison. Everybody lives. Like, you won the photo competition. So even though the photography teacher literally has just been arrested for murdering. Yeah, you still apparently found time to apply and win this photo competition. And then you fly down to San Francisco all in the same week. Apparently you win and fly down in the same week. And when you get there...
Oh, the tornado.
The tornado
takes everybody out.
Yes, so the tornado is still taking everybody out, so you get like a desperate phone call from Chloe, and she's like, please help us, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, what can you even do about the weather now, girl? Like, just take this one as a win. Like, you did pretty good.
Well, because Chloe's still gonna die, is the implication.
Yeah, I know, because Chloe's still gonna die.
And so then you rewind again, and it's like, the other thing that's really interesting is it's like photos within photos. And so it's getting super trippy. That's like the trippy piece. The other thing that you learn is Mr. Jefferson has a little diatribe that he was like using Nathan because he knew he would probably eventually get caught. And so he was using Nathan to try to blame Nathan. And he had actually killed Nathan right before.
Yes.
And he had also still gotten and killed Victoria.
Yes. So now Victoria's dead, Chloe's dead, Nathan's dead.
Amber's
You are
still
back
dead.
in the dark room because you went back
Rachel's
in time
still
to
dead.
undo Stu.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rachel Amber
He's
is still
gonna
dead.
kill you. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you, because you had ripped up your photo, you had taken the same actions, I guess, but you never turn in the photo. And so your journal isn't there, so you can't travel anywhere. There's no more photographs, but you're still stuck in the dark room, but you've still texted David because that's the timeline that you're currently in. So then David comes in and you like help him figure out how to like defeat Jefferson to like get you out. And then you have a big choice about whether or not you tell David that Chloe is dead.
Yeah, and I originally told David, and that's when you learn that David actually like cares about Chloe and like her well-being, or you get like a more clear picture of it, and he actually seems like really stressed about it, which makes sense. Which makes I say that like he shouldn't, but like that makes a lot of sense. So I rewinded and then lied and said she was fine. And then because the other goal is you need to go find Warren because you're trying to go back to when Chloe was still alive.
Yeah, and I think he had a picture
Chloe
from the Vortex party, so you need to get back there. Yeah, I did apparently let David kill him. I was apparently like, fuck that guy. Whatever.
Well, oh yeah, and then he kills Mr. Jefferson out of hate, and then I was like, I didn't like that only because it means that Mr. Jefferson.
You were like re-traumatizing David too.
Yeah, because he's like a war veteran and like PTSD, and like now he just murdered someone, and so he's gonna get in trouble for that. And I was like,
yeah,
I feel like it's better for everyone if I lie here.
Yeah.
So then you go back in time, you go find Warren. Warren is the tornado is still hitting. And then you're still looking at downtown Arcadia Bay, essentially right on the water, getting absolutely demolished by this tornado. Yes. Lots of people are dying around you. And Joyce, Franken Pompidou, and Warren are huddled up in the Whale Diner that Joyce works in. Mm-hmm. And the implication is that they're going to get killed in this tornado attack.
Definitely.
Because that's where they're hiding. Well, maybe not necessarily everybody. That feels like too much.
Everybody that you know, because you see them all in that final scene. Like you see like Evan, you see Alyssa, you see whatever. All the other ones are already dead.
Well, yeah, Victoria and everyone, but
so everybody is probably whatever, but like everyone in that immediate vicinity, which is all the people story-wise that you care about.
Yeah. So you go to the diner, you get a photo from Warren, you go back in time one more time, you warn Chloe, and then she doesn't get murdered, and you still turn in Mr. Jefferson? You save Victoria? I don't think you save Nathan, even in the good version, because he had already been killed by Mr. Jefferson. Yes,
I think that's true. And then you end up in like a weird dimension thing, and this is where I lost the plot, because you're like in a weird...
They didn't, because then you're like time traveling too much.
Yeah, and so everything's like falling apart around you.
Everything's kind of falling apart. You're trying to escape the tornado with Chloe. Yeah. Is like the last scene. So you check back in and the tornado is still happening, and you're like, the tornado is not going to hit the lighthouse. Like, let's go to the lighthouse to avoid the tornado. And and then you have like a weird like time headache. You go through this trippy scene, you check back in, and essentially you get to the big choice of the game, where you're watching this tornado start to hit downtown Arcadia Bay, and Warren, Joyce, Frank, Pompidou, everyone is in that downtown area, and so they would definitely die in this giant-ass tornado, because the buildings are also, like, made of tin.
Because there's been no construction for those buildings to withstand any sort of natural disaster.
And you're watching it with Chloe, and you get the big choice because Chloe is like, dude, you've saved my life like 5 times at this point, right? Like, there's no way. Because there's another point earlier in the story where you save her from getting hit by a train. So you have literally saved...
And from like a stray bullet, because you're like shooting guns around in the junkyard.
Yeah. So you have saved her like probably so many times. Over 5 times.
Final Destination is hanging over her head.
Yeah.
No joke. Yeah.
And she's like, I think that that's the world telling you that I was supposed to go in that first incident. And she has this photograph of a butterfly in the bathroom.
Right before
she got shot that Max had taken in the bathroom. And so she's like, go back, don't save me, and we'll save the town because all of this crazy weather is happening because you're messing with time, and that's not what's supposed to happen.
Yeah. There were like dead whales on the beach and all this kind of stuff too.
It was
birds were dying
in summer.
Yeah.
There was 2 moons.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. You're right. It definitely weird stuff was going on.
Weird stuff was happening. And so Chloe's like, you have to go do that and save the town. And then you get to the final choice of save Arcadia Bay or save Chloe. And we picked different ones, which is good.
We did, yes. And that's why, like, I feel like you're just trying to make yourself feel better with, like, not everyone is dead, just the people on the beach. It's because you killed them all, Maddie.
Look, statistically speaking, I just don't think it's possible for an entire town to get wiped out. Like, I'm sorry. There's going to be some survivors.
We never know. It's magic.
No, there's going to be some survivors. I stand by that.
The actual phrasing is sacrifice Arcadia Bay or sacrifice Chloe. Those are the actual words.
I will say, I definitely agree that the characters you care about are going to die. Joyce Warren, Frank Pompidou, they're all going to die. They're all on the beach.
Yeah.
Alyssa, she's dying. You know, like, I do get that. I do recognize that. But there's no way an entire town of people are dying because of this tornado hitting the beach. Like, not everybody's going to be at the fucking beach.
But the tornado probably is going to keep going. And it's huge. The tornado is literally the size of the bay.
Anyways,
it's giant.
I stand by it. But
okay, yeah, so I don't think we formally
Arcadia
said
Bay.
Yes, and I sacrificed Chloe. But to be fair, I actually didn't really like Chloe very much throughout the whole thing, which I don't know if that is a surprise or not, but I really didn't like Chloe. So I was like, yeah, you know what? I would rather just save everybody. So I was done with it.
And, you know, it's interesting because I went back and I watched the Sacrifice Chloe ending. Yeah. And I actually feel like that's kind of the ending that the devs...
They planned. Yeah, because you can, like, hug Chloe, you can kiss her, you can have this really emotional moment with her. Yeah.
And I also think it's the one that devs thought you would choose the most, like, thought people would choose the most, because it was more fleshed out. Like, I even watched, like, it's really sad. Do you still get Mr. Jefferson arrested? I hope so. They didn't really close that up.
I thought so, but maybe I'm remembering wrong. It's been 8 years, so I don't know. But I thought
Kate's
theoretically
alive
it was,
in that one too, because it's
Kate
very,
lived.
very beginning. It's like back to the very beginning that you start at, right?
Yeah.
And you go to Chloe's funeral, and it's really heartbreaking, and it's really sad, actually. And like Joyce, oh my God, can you imagine losing your husband and your daughter?
Yeah.
And Rachel Amber's still dead in this timeline because she got killed a while ago. But anyways, that's kind of that ending. The ending that I got was Chloe and Max driving off into the sunset after
through the debris.
Whole town is dead.
After everybody's fucking dead. God.
They kind of didn't really touch on much else. It wasn't as deep.
No, they didn't. Well, I mean, what'll be interesting is I'm really looking forward to see, because when I went to watch the talk on the sequel, they had mentioned that maybe some choices that you make impact some early things in the game. And I'm wondering if it has to do with whether or not you saved Chloe. Like, will Chloe show back up if you saved Chloe?
Well, it would be fucking weird if she didn't. Like,
yeah,
if you're
because
not
you, like,
best
destroyed a whole
friends with
town
her for the rest of your life, like...
What if you're not?
I'm really interested. I'm really interested to see what they do, because she's not in the trailer at all.
Maybe because they're trying to... oh, God, I don't know.
No, I know. I'm just saying, like, it's really interesting.
Yeah. But I don't know. At the end of it, when we think about, like, likes and dislikes and, like, the criticalness that people had, I really thought that the writing, like the story itself, I was actually really engaged with, and I loved
Totally.
how much the choices mattered. And I know that you and I had talked about maybe touching on that point a little bit, because one of the critical pieces is, do your choices matter? So what do you feel like,
Yeah.
Maddie? Do you feel like the choices mattered given that ending?
Not really. I get it. I do get it. So here's so I mean, at the end, it's either you rewind time and none of that ever happened, or you don't and everybody dies. And so it also kind of doesn't matter. Like, the thing that's super interesting that I can still see with like the sacrificing Chloe and the one like kind of argument against, oh, it doesn't matter anyways, is that Max still experienced it. And so I feel like that's like the only thing that was like, oh, it didn't matter. Well, Max like still went through this whole ass journey. So it still mattered for her character and for her.
Yeah.
And also she learned, hopefully, to turn in her teacher. So there's probably some good stuff that came out of that too, of like getting Mr. Jefferson arrested like way earlier, so that, and saving Kate in that universe as well. So I think that
I like that take.
I think that the sacrificing Chloe one has like a bit of a more generous, like, or I feel a bit more generous towards that. Where everybody dies, that's where I'm kind of like, well, then it didn't really matter because everybody died anyways. And like all of the people who were impacted are still just dead. So, And I guess it matters because you and Chloe have each other and you went through a thing together. But yeah.
I have a less, I think, emotional storytelling thought on it, and more of just like if I take out like me as an actual player, like the person holding the controller or whatever, to me, you played the whole game with the world changing around you and with things happening, and to your point, like as Max experiencing these changes. And so even if at the end the result of all of those things didn't actually accumulate into a difference in the end result, I still felt like throughout the game they really honored the choices matter kind of theming. And so I wasn't as upset about it, even if it didn't change the end result. But to your point, this feels like a hard game to land when choices matter so much, and the way that they set it up was very much so in like something really bad. Like the very first scene is that tornado thing, right? So even if they were like making the episodes as they go, they kind of walked themselves into this giant tornado thing and figuring out how to land that and also make all of your choices. I feel like you would have needed a lot more endings. And then I think that would have been a lot messier to figure out how to do. So I get why they did like a binary this or that ending, but it makes me like feel a little bad that the ending is literally only based on that last choice. Like I wish there was a little bit more, even if the result was the same. I don't know.
I think I'm really interested to see like what they do with the sequel. Because maybe they'll flesh it out a bit more. Like maybe they'll have more endings than just two, and maybe because the technology's gotten better. You know?
And the studio's made so many games at this point. Maybe they have more money to be able to spend more time on those kinds of things.
I don't know if it's been the same studio making all of them, actually.
Oh. I know that the person who did the talk that I went to for the second, or I know it's not the second one because there's been a bajillion Life is Stranges, but like the double exposure, the second one with Max, he did not work on the original one, but the other woman that was with him had worked on the original one. So there are some, at least, people from the original working on this one. Okay, even if it's not the same studio. I thought it was still Don't Nod.
They did Life is Strange 2. They did not do the prequel.
Oh, Don't Nod didn't do the prequel?
Nope. They did Tell Me Why.
Oh.
They did a game called Harmony that looks pretty cool. They did Jusant. That was their most recent game.
Oh, I've heard such good things about Jusant.
Yeah, the climbing one. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And they also did Banishers, which was the like the married couple game on PlayStation that came out.
Oh, I don't think I've seen that one.
And they have a new one. They're not actually working on the sequel. They have a new one they just announced called Lost Records.
So what studio is making the sequel?
Deck 9?
Oh.
And Deck 9 did Life is Strange True Colors, Life is Strange Remastered, and now and they did the prequel, Life is Strange Before the Storm.
Are they even related at all to Don't Nod? Like, how did they end up working on this game? They just have the same
publisher, Square Enix.
Oh.
Because Square Enix owns the Life is Strange franchise.
Oh, that's
because
so
that's how publishing works, right?
Because that's how publishing works. Oh my God. I didn't think about that. That's interesting. Yeah. Well, then I guess, let's see what they do with it. Because I don't know. I haven't actually played, I guess, any of the ones made by this studio, because I played Life is Strange 2 and I played Tell Me Why, which were from apparently the original ones. And I guess I just intuitively skipped the ones made by that studio, so I guess I'll find out. Interesting.
Their new one looks really interesting. Their new one,
the gameplay I saw of it looked really fun, so I'm actually really excited for it.
Yeah. Lost Records, like Don't Nod's most recent one, is like a 4 high school girls in a punk band.
Ooh, I do love that.
And it's also a Choices Matter game.
Huh.
But yeah.
Oh yeah, that's so fun. And it takes place in the 90s. That's cute. Mm-hmm. I like that. Okay, well, I guess we're to the end. So, personal rating, recommendations, Maddie?
Yeah. So I really liked this game. I would recommend it to anyone who is interested in experiencing the story that we just talked about. It's very accessible. Like, you don't need crazy controls, even though I still managed to get lost. It was really funny having Bridget witness in real time how I get turned around in games. It's really bad.
I'm like, she got lost in a hallway, guys. She was literally in a hallway.
I really need every game to have the Dead Space feature where you do the down stick click and it with highlights like the glitter. Your path. I loved that shit. Yeah. I feel like I think it's probably like a 4 out of 5 for me. I will say 4 out of 5 Pompadous because the dog was cute. And I feel like overall I've never played a game where choices mattered that much, I think. And like impacted the story that much, even though at the end it was kind of wonky on if it impacted or not. But like the Kate, I guess I will say the Kate moment really stuck with me in particular. Yeah. And like I thought that was really powerful. And so I'm looking forward to playing other games that have more of this aspect. Like I'm really looking forward to playing the sequel and seeing how they build on it. And then also seeing how a different studio takes the story and like continues the story. That's what I'm super interested in. And I'm wavering on if I want to play True Colors or not. Have you played that one?
So I haven't played that one. The only one that has characters that will matter for the one we're going to play.
No, totally. I knew
is going to be the Before the Storm. Yeah, Before the Storm. But I heard True Colors, some people, they were a little bit more mixed by it, but they liked it a lot more than 2. Yes. And like, I'll admit for 2, I was less interested in that one. It was still a really interesting story with like really interesting, it was like 2 brothers, which was really cute. But it was a lot more transient. So you didn't get a lot of time with the characters because they were moving from place to place to place. And that hurt it for me. And I totally understood why they had to do that for the story they were telling. It just wasn't as impactful for me. And I actually really love the time rewind powers from the first one. And they didn't have the same type of power mechanic in the second one, which I wasn't anticipating.
And True Colors is supposed power.
Yes, it's a different power, but I heard it's a lot more similar to the first one than Life is Strange 2 was. So,
yeah.
Not sure.
Well, looking forward to seeing what they do with the next one.
Yeah.
Double exposure. Another photography reference.
I know. Great. Excited for her photography skills to increase.
Hopefully the dialogue is better.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think for me, I would also give it a 4 out of 5, Butterflies. But the dialogue is so bad. It made me laugh. It was humorous in moments where it was supposed to be so serious. Like the fact that they use hella so often. Shaka Bra still
Shaka
gets
Bra
me.
was wild. That was a wild one.
We got Are You Cereal a few times.
Oh yeah.
Like it was peak 2009, 2010 Tumblr.
Throughout my stream, I feel like I was like, ouch, this dialogue is hurting me.
It hurt. And then there were some times where they, through the dialogue, were trying to prove to you that your choices matter. So it'd be like, when Kate was on the building, they literally had moments where you kind of like you were like, I erased the terrible things that they said to you on the mirror. And I'm like, why are you telling her that right now? She doesn't need to know.
Yeah.
They were terrible things about her on a mirror. Like, please.
Yeah.
So there were some, the dialogue wasn't my favorite, but I really did love the impact of the choice. The music was great. I love the episodic vibe of it. I think that was a great choice. And this is one of the games that I continuously like want other people to play so that I can engage with them as they play it and after they play it, because it's so fun to see what kind of choices people picked. So definitely a strong 4 out of 5 for me. And I would recommend it to anyone who just like loves an interesting story. I definitely feel like it probably hits with younger audiences probably better.
Yeah.
But
I think you just have to. I actually really like what you said. Like, it's really CW. If you enjoy,
it's very CW.
If you like can enjoy like a good CW story, like
you love Riverdale, get here, stat.
Yeah, and I would even say, because like I'm not a big CW person, but I can watch like the first 2 seasons of a CW show, and before it kind of wears on me. Yeah. So I would say this is still pretty good. Like, it's entertaining, like a CW show is.
Yeah, I agree. I think they should make it into a TV show. I'd watch it.
I'm surprised it's not.
Right?
It's really cinematic, and I can really see it being translated well. I mean, obviously it's going to be different because the choices aren't going to, like, maybe they could do, Netflix did that one, like, Black Mirror thing.
Such a good idea. Ooh, that would be awesome. I would definitely watch.
I feel like streaming services are really pulling back on their budget for, like, originals, though, and stuff.
But this is, like, a high school thing, though. I don't feel like the budget would need to be super high. It's just high school kids.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, they just need one scene of a giant tornado. Done. Ship it.
Yeah, they do need good VFX for just the tornado, but feels pretty easy these days to do something like that.
Yeah, I believe it could be done. Okay, this is a long episode, so I apologize in advance. All right, close us out.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. If you liked it, don't forget to subscribe and rate it. You can find us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Baddy Breakdowns, and visit our website, baddybreakdowns.com, made by Bridget. The podcast art was done by the wonderful Tanisha Vernikar, and the podcast was edited by me, and I also made our theme song. Join us next time to hear us two baddies break down Silent Hill 2 Remake. I'm making Bridget play it, and I'm really excited. Sobs. It's spooky season, baby.
My heart is already beating too much. Oh, God. Oh, no.